a European army will never happen. And it's the wrong way to think about how you would replace NATO, because NATO isn't a transatlantic army. What it is a transatlantic system of security guarantees. So if NATO is brain dead, if NATO is over, then what you would need is a European system in which Europeans collectively guaranteed the security of Europe. That could be a possible solution to the problem. But the question, firstly, is how you get there, because the moment Europeans start to develop initiatives of their own outside of NATO, then it increases the likelihood that the US withdraws from Europe even further. And so the US security guarantee, the likelihood that that essentially disappears is even greater. That's the first problem. And the second problem, the real problem, is the question of who pays for it. Because if we're talking about Europeans without the United States securing Europe, then you would no longer be talking about spending 2% of GDP on defence as they're currently expected to in NATO. You'd be talking about spending even higher percentages of GDP on defence. And so the question then becomes, who's prepared to do that? And in particular, is Germany, the biggest country in Europe and the biggest economy in Europe, is it prepared to spend not just 2% of GDP on defence, but even more than that? And if not, then essentially you're back to the same problem of German free riding, where essentially Germany is expecting somebody else to pay for Europe's security. And then I think the question becomes, what's in it for, say, the French, who would be the obvious country to do that, the only other nuclear power in NATO if and when Britain leaves, the only nuclear power in the EU if and when Britain leaves the EU, and really what would be in it for the French?